I'm not sure what happened with the knife she was carrying. It looked like she was still holding on to it. And I looked down and I saw my wife on the floor, blood everywhere, all over the bathroom.
September 5th, 2013. An 18-year-old girl sits in an Aurora, Colorado courtroom accused of murdering her own mother with a knife. And instead of tears or remorse, she's smirking at the cameras, pointing at her eyes like she's filming content for social media. The courtroom froze. Her lawyers were preparing an insanity defense, but what everyone witnessed wasn't just disturbing behavior. It was a window into a mind so fractured that reality itself had become unrecognizable. Isabella Guzman had taken her mother's life in one of the most brutal attacks Colorado had ever seen, stabbing her 79 times, yet in that courtroom, she acted like none of it mattered. But here's what makes this case truly chilling. Isabella wasn't faking. She wasn't playing games. Her mind had shattered so completely that she created an entirely new identity to escape what she'd done. Every detail I'm sharing has been verified through court records, police reports, and psychiatric evaluations. This isn't speculation, this is documented tragedy.
You left her to die, brutally, on a bathroom
I did not murder anyone. Please stop accusing me of this.
Just tell me how that feels.
Please fingerprint me, please fingerprint me, please fingerprint me. I will show you that I am not this freaky, horrible person. Call me Isabella, that's really
That's your name?
My name is not Isabella. My name is Samantha. There are people in this world that look alike, you know?
2 days before the murder, Isabella got into a heated argument with her mother, Yunmi Hoy, that ended with Isabella spitting directly in her mother's face. Yunmi was used to difficult behavior from her daughter, but this felt different, more threatening, more dangerous. What Yunmi didn't realize was that this single act of disrespect would trigger a sequence of events ending in unimaginable horror just 24 hours later. But to understand how we got here, we need to go back to the beginning. Isabella had been born in Aurora, raised as an only child, but from her earliest years, something was off. The behavioral problems were so severe that when Isabella was only 7 years old, her mother made a heartbreaking decision to send her to live with her father full-time. Think about that for a moment. What kind of behavior from a 7-year-old would be so concerning that a loving mother would feel she had no other option? Isabella's parents had divorced when she was 3, and that early disruption clearly affected her. But changing households wouldn't solve the problem growing inside her young mind. During her childhood, police were called to their homes multiple times because neighbors thought they were witnessing break-ins. It turned out to be Isabella's boyfriend entering without permission. While it seemed like typical teenage rebellion at the time, it was actually part of a pattern that no one fully understood yet. Isabella lived with her father for several years, but the distance didn't cure whatever was developing in her brain. When she moved back with her mother and stepfather, Ryan Hoy, at age 14, the behavioral problems had intensified dramatically. If cases like this fascinate you, subscribe now to Women of Malice because I publish new cases every week. By August 2013, when Isabella turned 18, the situation had deteriorated to a breaking point. Ryan later testified that Isabella had become increasingly threatening toward her mother, and most disturbingly, Yunmi Hoy had begun to fear her own daughter. This fear broke Yunmi's heart because she loved Isabella deeply. She kept hoping she could somehow reach her daughter, but Isabella seemed to be slipping further away from reality with each passing day. The day after Isabella spit in her mother's face, Yunmi opened her email to find a chilling 3-word message. You will pay. But here's where things get strange. The email was addressed to someone named Cecilia, not to Yunmi herself. Remember that name because it changes everything about this case. Frightened by the threatening email and escalating tensions, Yunmi contacted police, hoping law enforcement might defuse the situation before it spiraled completely out of control. Since Isabella was 18, Yunmi had every legal right to remove her from the house, but she didn't want to take such drastic action. She still believed there might be a way to reach her daughter, to bring her back from wherever her mind had gone. When officers arrived and spoke with Isabella, they explained that if she didn't start showing respect, her mother had every right to ask her to leave. But the message didn't seem to be getting through. Isabella remained largely silent and showed little reaction to the warnings. She was already living in a different reality, one where her mother wasn't her mother at all. hoping family might have better success, Yoonmi contacted Isabella's biological father, Robert, who had always maintained a better relationship with his daughter. Robert agreed to try talking with her. He described sitting with Isabella in the backyard, having what he thought was a meaningful conversation about respect and boundaries. Robert genuinely believed he had gotten through to her. He would later realize how tragically wrong he was. But by this point, there was no getting through to Isabella. Her mental illness had progressed to such a severe state that rational conversation was no longer effective. That evening, around 9:30 p.m., Yoonmi returned home from work bringing McDonald's for herself and her husband, Ryan. Such a normal detail. A mother bringing home fast food after a long day, completely unaware she was walking into the last few minutes of her life. Yoonmi and Ryan talked briefly, and at one point she asked if he knew where Isabella was. Ryan told her he hadn't seen Isabella for about an hour. Given everything that had happened, the police visit, the threatening email, the ongoing tensions, Yoonmi must have felt incredibly anxious. She told Ryan she was taking a quick shower. Such an ordinary decision after a long, stressful day. She had no way of knowing that Isabella was already upstairs waiting, her mind completely consumed by delusions that would turn her own daughter into her executioner. Within minutes, Yoonmi was fighting for her life. Ryan soon heard heavy thumping sounds from the bathroom, followed by a blood-curdling scream. Initially, he thought Isabella might be physically fighting with her mother using her fists, so he rushed upstairs to stop what he assumed was another family argument. But when he reached the top of the stairs, he discovered something far worse. The bathroom door was slightly open, but as Ryan approached, Isabella suddenly pushed against the door from inside and locked it. He was trapped outside, helpless, while something horrific was happening just feet away. The thumping sounds continued. Then Ryan saw blood seeping out from underneath the door. Not just drops, but a steady flow that told him this was no ordinary fight. Panic overtaking him, Ryan ran downstairs to call 911, frantically trying to explain what was happening. Sounds of violence from the bathroom, blood coming out from under the door. As he spoke to the dispatcher, Ryan ran back upstairs, desperately hoping he might break down the door and save his wife. That's when he heard Yeonmi's last words spoken with her final breath, Jehovah. Then, to his complete shock, the door simply opened. Isabella casually walked out with a completely blank expression, still holding a bloody knife. When Ryan looked past her into the bathroom, he saw his wife lying motionless, surrounded by an unimaginable amount of blood. The dispatcher instructed Ryan to start CPR, but even he could see there was no hope. Yeonmi's injuries were too severe. In that moment, Ryan realized he had lost his wife forever.
I'm not sure what happened with the knife she was carrying. It looked like she was still holding on to it. And I looked down and I saw my wife on the floor. Blood everywhere, all over the bathroom. I was talking to the dispatcher, and the dispatcher told me, make sure you get her breathing again. Get her airways open. I don't know CPR.
And the stepdaughter he had tried to help raise had become her killer. Emergency services arrived at 10:16 p.m., only 11 minutes after Ryan's frantic call. By 10:28 p.m., Yoonmi Hoi was officially pronounced dead. The scene first responders encountered was absolutely brutal. Yoonmi had been stabbed 79 times, with 31 wounds to her face and 48 to her neck and torso. Officers also found a baseball bat next to her body, but Isabella was nowhere to be found. She had simply vanished into the night. Police immediately issued a BOLO alert, warning the public that she was armed and extremely dangerous. They attempted to track her cell phone, but she had turned it off, making it clear that despite her apparent mental state, she retained enough awareness to try to avoid capture. The manhunt continued through the night and into the next day. For 16 hours, Isabella remained at large while police searched everywhere, and the community was on edge. Finally, on August 29th, around 2 p.m., police received a tip. Someone had called to report what they thought was a dead body in the back of a Jeep in an Aurora parking garage. When officers arrived, they discovered it was actually Isabella sleeping and covered in her mother's dried blood. She was found found just outside the parking garage, along with the murder weapon and a backpack full of her belongings, still wearing the same outfit, a pink sports bra and turquoise shorts, now stained with blood. Investigators also discovered that Isabella had visited an H-Mart bathroom after fleeing the scene, and surveillance footage captured her entering the store while covered in blood. Incredibly, she had interacted with other customers who were shopping there, and none of them called 911, apparently believing Isabella's story that she had been sexually assaulted and didn't want police involvement. When Isabella was finally taken into custody, her arrest went smoothly. She didn't resist or try to run. But what happened next in the interrogation room would prove to be one of the most bizarre interviews in criminal justice history. The interrogation footage reveals something truly disturbing about Isabella's mental state.
So she's 110 pounds? That's really skinny. I'm 148 pounds.
Isabella, please.
Don't call me Isabella. That's
your
freaky.
name.
My name is not Isabella. My name is Samantha. There are people in this world who look alike, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You guys are not, like, all-knowing. You don't know everything. You're just accusing me of all this stuff that I didn't do.
That's you.
No, it is not.
There's no question. That's you.
She's pretty.
Yeah, you're a pretty girl. That's you.
But that's not me.
Yeah, that's up your Facebook account.
She's a singer?
It's not even a funny game anymore.
Why would she kill anybody?
That's what we want to know.
You left her to die. Brutally. On a bathroom
I did
floor.
not murder anyone.
How does
Please
that
stop
feel?
accusing me of this.
Just tell me how that feels.
Please fingerprint me. Please fingerprint me. Please fingerprint me. I will show you that I am not this freaky, horrible person. Don't call me Isabella. That's
your
freaky.
name.
My name is not Isabella. My name is Samantha. There are people in this world who look alike, you know?
The detectives weren't buying her story, but from her perspective, she was telling the truth.
We know what you know what you did, and we know who you are. We know how it
Apparently
happened,
not,
when it
because you
happened.
guys are completely wrong. You got the wrong girl.
No, we don't. We don't have the wrong girl, and you know that.
No, I don't.
How did it feel?
How did what feel?
When you did what you did, how did it feel?
I didn't kill anybody. That's
Did it
disgusting.
feel good?
It's disgusting. You guys really think I'm a murderer?
Yeah, we're not joking.
Did it make you feel powerful?
Just feel.
In her fractured mind, she really wasn't Isabella Guzman anymore. The story Isabella told was incredibly detailed and consistent. She described being a 15-year-old runaway from Ohio looking for her boyfriend who had somehow ended up in Colorado. She claimed this was all a case of mistaken identity and that DNA testing would prove she wasn't the person they were looking for. But perhaps the most chilling moment came when detectives brought in Isabella's biological father, Robert, hoping that seeing a familiar face might break through her psychological barriers.
Who's that?
That's my baby.
Sir, do you recognize this?
Who are you?
Hey, Robert, why don't you come on back out here for a second? Do you recognize her?
Yeah, she's my daughter.
What's her name?
Isabella.
Isabella. What's her last name?
Guzman.
Isabella Guzman. Okay. This photograph here. Is that photograph? Is that your daughter there?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is your daughter here?
Yeah.
Okay.
When Robert approached his daughter with tears in his eyes, hoping that paternal love might penetrate whatever was happening in her mind, Isabella looked at him with the same blank expression.
Is he insane? Does she have like a crazy family? Like a completely crazy family? Is that why she's psychotic and killed her mom? My name is Samantha. Who is that man?
Imagine being a father and having your own daughter look at you like you're a complete stranger. Robert broke down completely, and investigators realized they were dealing with something far more complex than a teenager trying to avoid consequences. In June 2014, something happened that changed everything about how this case was understood. Isabella entered a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity, backed up by extensive psychiatric evaluation that revealed the full extent of her condition. A forensic psychiatrist testified that Isabella was suffering from paranoid schizophrenia and had been experiencing severe delusions and hallucinations in the weeks and months leading up to the incident. The doctor explained that Isabella genuinely believed her mother had been replaced by a woman named Cecilia, and that voices were commanding her to eliminate this imposter in order to save the world. This wasn't teenage rebellion or family conflict gone wrong. This was severe mental illness that had completely hijacked Isabella's perception of reality. The psychiatrist also testified that Isabella had been experiencing command hallucinations, voices that weren't suggesting she take action, but were ordering her to do so. In her delusional state, she believed she was following commands from external forces to protect innocent people from danger. Even District Attorney George Brockler, known for taking tough stances on violent crime, recognized that this case was different. After reviewing all the psychiatric evidence, he made the unusual decision not to contest Isabella's insanity plea. The judge accepted Isabella's not guilty by reason of insanity plea and sentenced her to an indefinite stay at the Colorado Mental Health Institute in Pueblo. Then, in 2020, something unexpected happened that would thrust Isabella back into the public eye. The courtroom footage of Isabella's bizarre behavior from 2013 began circulating on social media platforms, particularly TikTok, where it eventually gained millions of views. What started as a single viral video quickly spread across multiple platforms, with hashtags related to Isabella's case accumulating over 200 million views. The videos portrayed Isabella's psychotic behavior as entertaining, rather than as symptoms of severe mental illness, completely ignoring the tragic loss of Yeonmi Hoi's life. Comments flooded in with disturbing statements romanticizing someone's worst mental health crisis and turning a family's tragedy into entertainment. Ryan Hoy spoke publicly about the viral videos for the first time in 2021, and the pain in his voice was unmistakable. Meanwhile, Isabella's recovery continued at the mental health facility, and by 2020, after 7 years of intensive treatment, she began petitioning for conditional release.
I was not myself when I did that, and I have since been restored to full health. I was abused at home by my family for many years. My parents are Jehovah's Witnesses, and I left the religion when I was 14, and the abuse at home worsened after I quit. The fight with my mom was terrible, and I was injured in the process. I have the scars on my hands. I don't know if you can see or not. I'm not mentally ill anymore. I'm not a danger to myself or others. If I could change it, or if I could take it back, I would.
The Isabella Guzman case ultimately represents both a tragedy and a testament to the power of proper mental health treatment, demonstrating that even the most severe psychotic episodes can potentially be treated and managed, while also highlighting the devastating consequences when mental illness goes unrecognized and untreated. Subscribe now and let me know what aspect of this case disturbed you most. The warning signs that were missed, the viral glorification of mental illness, or the question of whether redemption is possible after such unthinkable acts.